going to put him to sleep properly this time. I want to nail him to the canvas.
So categorically, Oleksandr Usyk, who's a great fighter, cannot take this version of Daniel Dubois' speed and power.
No way. No way. This time it's going to be proper war. Give you guys a bloodbath and, just tear him up, put him to sleep.
Do you think this is the end of his career?
It will be. I'll make sure it is. I want to see England stop for that day and, lifting the crown and lifting all the belts up. I want to see the whole world stop. This would be the biggest fight in the world and I want all eyes on it. So, yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be historic and powerful and massive. Can't wait.
Dubois recently made a scathing statement prior to his potential rematch with Oleksandr Usyk, stating that he is completely set to halt the Ukrainian champion in the ring, talking with steely determination. Dubois pointed out that he learned from the first time they met and is going into this fight fresh with renewed aggression and attention to detail. Boxing columnist Gareth A. Davies has seconded Dubois' views, siding with the perception that the British heavyweight now represents a much sterner test for Usyk than ever before. For Davies, Dubois' ruggedness coupled with his youthfulness and dainty technique should not be discounted. He pointed out that Dubois looks more mentally robust and mature as a pugilist. Davies added that this Dubois version could provide the sort of pressure likely to disrupt Usyk's rhythm and most likely open up opportunities for a knockout triumph.
My view was that Oleksandr Usyk's counting the beans a little bit more and he's winding down, and Dubois could be his last fight. I've dug around a little bit more since then.
Gareth A. Davies also highlighted recent news in Oleksandr Usyk's professional life, namely a reported falling out between Usyk and his longtime promoter. This development, Davies adds, brings uncertainty to the camp of Usyk at the moment of utmost need for consistency and concentration.
Kind of a bit of a shock. We heard yesterday that he'd split with his promoter Alex Krasik. They had an incredible journey. And I didn't really see this coming, and obviously it's only 4 weeks till the undisputed rematch with Daniel Dubois, so it was a bit of a weird time to announce it, to go through with the split. What did you think about it?
Well, yes, I did think it was a certain shock.
The timing of this switch, especially around a big stakes fight, might influence the preparation of the Ukrainian. Although details pertaining to the split are still few, the crisis has provided fodder for speculation regarding possible instability within Team Usyk.
They've been together so long and you're used to them being together and you're used to Krasiuk. But he delivers great lines for Oleksandr Usyk when his language in English is not there for him to be able to elucidate things, but and it's been a very powerful relationship for a long time. And as we all know, Krasiuk's a great guy to deal with, both in the media and around events, and it gives his time. What I read straight away into it is it's a sign that Usyk is very close to the end.
Davies also speculated that the break from his promoter might be seen as a sign of transition or deterioration in Usyk's career. He added that in boxing, changes in management or promotional staff tend to reflect deeper strategic revaluations, particularly for veteran champions. Such adjustments may suggest a fighter is weighing the final phase of their professional careers. Davies explained that although this does not necessarily verify any conclusion, it does create doubt about whether Usyk is still as committed or dedicated as he was to holding his top position.
And I was very impressed with him when I sat down. He's more open than I've ever known him before. Happier, a very happy fighter. And if he's happy, he's dangerous. I think Usyk, as you say, was 31 in January. 38 in January. 38. He'd be happy to be 31. 38 in January. So you ride all the factors at the moment, disregarding what happened in the first fight, that Usyk dominated on points, obviously, and stopped Daniel, I think it was in the 9th, wasn't it? Yeah. Having been felled by what I consider to be a borderline low blow as well in the 5th round. There are many factors which would indicate that Dubois will be dangerous early in this fight. He will go for it, there's no doubt about it.
Teddy Atlas recently commended Daniel Dubois on his tremendous development as a boxer, particularly after his outstanding win against Anthony Joshua. Atlas pointed out the improvements that Dubois has made in technical ability, physical power, and overall ring maturity, stating that the win was a big statement for the heavyweight division. He conceded that Dubois has become a much more poised and dangerous contender. Atlas feels that this change brings brings a different level of interest to the upcoming fight against Usyk, cautioning that Dubois' improvement may present severe problems to the defending champion.
This is a different fight. Dubois is young. He's getting better. He's found himself. He's at that place now in his life where he's only going to get better. He believes in himself. He knows what he is now. He knows he can depend on himself. He is more dangerous now than he ever was. He was always a good puncher. But now he's more than just a good puncher. He's a solid man in that ring. It's a dangerous fight for Usyk. It's a very, very, and I salute him again. Even though I wish what I wish, I don't hide what I feel. I say it. But I salute him, that son of a gun. He's not stupid. He knows the guy's going to be better. He knows the guy's younger. He knows how dangerous. He knows how he knocked out Joshua. He knows all of that. And what does he say? Give me fight.
When Usyk was questioned specifically regarding the likelihood of retirement, he gave a considered response that noted the approaching end, but undermined the perception that it was near.
Do you think about retirement much? Yeah, at the end.
Not think much, but I think about this sometimes.
How many fights do you think you'd say you have left?
Usyk said that although he appreciates his career is nearer its end than its start, he still believes there are fights left in him. He stressed that his drive and training are still good, and retirement will only be an option when he cannot compete at the top level anymore. For the meantime, Usyk plans to keep fighting.
10
fights, wow. 10 fights, okay.
No, it's not true. It's not true. I not say now. I cannot say now because.
Is there any particular fight venue that you still want to achieve, like for a final fight or a retirement fight?
Yeah, it's Ukrainian Olympic Stadium.
Coach Peter Fury also commented on the next fight, voicing his opinion that Dubois will pose a much bigger challenge to Usyk this time around. Fury mentioned Dubois' physical growth and his seeming psychological maturity as determinants. He feels that the British brawler is now more capable of managing the speed, tactics, and pressure of an elite-level championship fight. Fury stated that if Dubois is able to overwhelm him with his size and power in the early rounds, Usyk will have issues that were not as evident in their last meeting.
Dubois probably has feels so much confidence, way more confidence than he did going into the first Usyk fight.
Yeah.
Peter, what can we expect?
I think it's going to be a very interesting fight because Dubois got a lot better. So he'll be a different man this time. But I don't know, I just favour Usyk with the feet. Because look, to land that power, you've got to get there. And you've got to get there against a box of tricks in Usyk. He's been in with big punches. He's been in with the big heavyweights. He's mixed at the top. So I just feel on the sheer experience and just that ring craft what he's got, he'll negate that power. But he's got to be switched on for the full 12 rounds because one slip and the fight's upside down. So this is what I mean. You know, when you're boxing somebody like Dubois, he's dangerous.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd be interesting.
Veteran pundit Adam Smith recently broke down the dynamics of a theoretical rematch, indicating that the skill and experience gap between Usyk and Dubois may not be as great as first estimated. Smith cited Dubois' ongoing development and maturity as a boxer, citing his better handling under pressure. He posited that although Usyk is still an extremely technical and fluid boxer, Dubois has begun to bridge the tactical and physical difference. Smith's analysis is part of a general mood that there might be more to the rematch than there was to the first fight.
I think that lack of ring time might be problematic come the Usyk fight. I don't think there'll be any decline from Usyk. I think he's got he's got heavy hands, Dubois, and he'll go for it. And I think he'll always be dangerous while he's there. I just wonder if Usyk will be slightly too clever still. I don't know. Look, the gap has definitely closed. Usyk is getting older. Dubois is getting better. There's no way that he can outbox Oleksandr Usyk round after round. But can he punch through him? There's a possibility.
Smith also surmised that Usyk's stamina may be strained over the length of a 12-rounder, particularly considering his age and the toll of recent fights. He said that keeping footwork and lateral movement up throughout the rounds of the championship will be imperative for Usyk, yet more energetically costly than it has been in the past. If Dubois is able to employ consistent pressure and hit the body area early on, there's a very real chance that fatigue might interrupt Usyk's mobility in the later rounds and turn momentum into Dubois' favor.
I think people expect Usyk as this sort of unbeatable force, but the legs will go at some stage, and that low blow, whether it was, whether it wasn't, is long gone now, but it will give Dubois confidence that he can work the Usyk body, and if he can get to him, he can hurt him, and then it'll be very, very interesting.
In a recent interview, Daniel Dubois oozed calm confidence over his prospects in a second bout with Usyk. He spoke of himself as a more mature and improved fighter than he had been the first time around. Dubois highlighted the significance of the mind and discipline while training, stating that he feels stronger physically and sharper mentally. When asked directly about specific tactical alterations, he refused to provide specifics, but reasserted that he feels his team better now understands what they have to do in order to make it at the top.
Definitely, I believe that, heavyweights, this is what it's all about, knockouts. And I'm just going to be 100% focused on the job in front of me. And I believe I'm going to deliver that 100%.
Dubois finished the interview with a blunt and confident statement. The only thing he'd alter from their last fight is the outcome. He has no regrets regarding the strategy used during the initial bout, but opines that with better conditioning, updated tactics, and enhanced poise, he is now ready to emerge victorious. This assertion is indicative of Dubois' conviction in the strides he has made from their last meeting. He is still keen on having a decisive victory and establishing himself as a legitimate heavyweight contender.
You're not stupid, you're not going to give me away a game plan or anything like that, but you can give us something. What will you do differently this time that you didn't do first time round?
Win.
But others like Paulie Malignaggi joined the overall praise for Oleksandr Usyk, highlighting his faultless fundamentals. Former world champion analyst Paulie Malignaggi complimented Usyk's textbook technique, ring positioning, and ring smarts as some of the finest in the sport today. Malignaggi emphasized that Usyk doesn't employ flash. Instead, he breaks down his opponents with unadulterated skill, excellent timing, and intelligent movement. In Paulie's view, it is Usyk's mastery of fundamentals that renders him so effective against even the most unstable heavyweights.
Oleksandr Usyk's career so far, it's been meteoric rise, hasn't it? Yeah, I think he's one of the best fighters in the world, probably on the pound-for-pound list. It's funny because he and Lomachenko have a similar dynamic in this. They're more of these moderns of Eastern Europeans. They have the great fundamentals that Eastern Europeans always bring, but they also have this fluidity to them. They're almost like a new age evolved Eastern European fighters, so you don't get worse, they only get better.
Teddy Atlas also placed his wagers on the bout, stating that this fight could be considerably different from the first one. The veteran trainer and commentator opined that Usyk is clearly better in all aspects, sharper, stronger, and more assured. Of course, Atlas mentioned that Dubois can quite possibly enter the fight well prepared with all this publicity, but perhaps not the actual difference maker, Usyk's development as a fighter. He labeled Usyk as not just better, but smarter, faster, and more complete, implying this iteration of Usyk may be levels above what we witnessed in their initial showdown.
Dubois has found himself. He's a different fighter. He's a different animal now. Anyone who thinks that it's the same fight, they're wrong. I can't go against Usyk. I can't. Because the guy, his greatest strength is he always finds a way to win. Always. The amateurs, Olympic gold, cruiserweights, unified heavyweights, goes to London, fights a bigger guy, fights him twice, beats him. Then he goes and fights a bigger guy again, fights him twice, Fury beats him. I mean, the guy knows how to find a way to win. He's special, but he's getting older. I would have preferred, like I said, I have nothing but admiration for both. I have some maybe extra love towards Usyk.
Chris Eubank Jr. has recently commented on the impending rematch between Oleksandr Usyk and Daniel Dubois, recognizing that each fighter is now enjoying strong momentum within their own careers. He insisted that this fight won't be merely a matter of physical ability or technique, it will be a matter of psychological toughness. Eubank Jr. feels that determination, mental toughness, and the power to persevere through hardships will ultimately determine the result. In his opinion, whoever is able to keep their head clear while under pressure and assert themselves in the decisive moments will emerge victorious from this high-stakes battle.
I think Daniel Dubois, he's on a roll. He's coming off of a massive win against AJ. Usyk's also on a massive roll, so I think that fight's going to come down to mindset.
Last but not least, Anthony Joshua had a response to the Usyk versus Dubois fight. Although he conceded it's a hard one to call, his admiration of Usyk seemed to suggest where his money's on. Joshua pointed out Usyk's ability, heart, and established record, implying that he has a great deal of respect for the champion's talent. Although he left his forecast hanging, Joshua's remarks had fans believing that he's favoring Usyk in this thrilling rematch.
On Daniel Dubois against Oleksandr Usyk, realistically, has he got any chance? We've got 30 seconds.
Of course he has. Look, it's a tough ask, of course. The thing with Usyk is he doesn't depend on his power to knock you out. He depends on his skill. That's why it's a tough ask, because he's going to box rings around you if you let him. Dubois, good luck. Don Charles, good luck. Great British boxing, good luck. We potentially might have a heavyweight championship back on our soil.
Let us know what you're thinking. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so that you never miss another in-depth breakdown like this. We've got more heat on the way. Keep it locked up, fight fans.